Let's start with the first type, which is usually the easiest and most straightforward. This type is used when the book or magazine has a small number of pages. For example, it could be anywhere from 1 to 64 pages. So this format typically ranges from 16 to 64 pages, still a relatively small count. We'll take a look at that next. Before we continue, there's a quick but important note I want to share. I'm going to mention a few terms commonly used in printing and design. Keep in mind, these terms can vary depending on the country. For instance, in Egypt, the term might be different. And in Saudi Arabia, you'll hear different names as well. And in Jordan, it might go by yet another name to D something else. But we'll end up with the same meaning or explanation. We'll start with the A4 size because most of these small booklets or magazines with a low page count are usually A4 size. So we'll begin by working on the A4. Alright, let's get started together. Now, I'm going to explain outside. I'm going to work outside this artboard, so let's see together how we start here. I'm going to open an A4 size, which is 21 by 29.7. It's important that we know this. The correct measurements for A4, A5, and A3. So for me, the A4 is 21 by 29.7. Let's open this first. Let's assume our book is in Arabic, or a book that opens from right to left, not an English book. So this page will be the front cover, or in other words, the face of the cover. Alright, here I've opened the size. Let's consider it as such. Okay, just make sure that our page here is in CMYK. From File, if it's in RGB, change it to CMYK because this is for printing. Now I've opened an A4, one side, which is, let's say, the front cover or the face of the cover. Now I want the back cover or the back side of the cover. I press Enter, then I set 21 for the horizontal so it moves to the right, and I press Copy. So now I have the front and the back cover. Alright, this is the first type. What makes the first type special? What makes it special is that, let's say, there are no other additions here. Meaning, there's no spine for the cover. We call it a spine, which you might see in the second type that I'll explain, where there's a spine in the middle here. But for now, we're working with the first type. The number of its pages is held together by a staple in the middle. When you hold the book after printing, there's a staple that keeps the pages together. There's no other type used here. Alright, so if I just make a blank page like this, let's just put a design on it here. I've prepared something specific. It's not anything too fancy, but still. Let's just put this here, just like that, and I can do the same thing again. Press Enter, type 210, and then copy it. You can do something similar, depending on your design. Make it vertical if you want to flip it, or adjust it as you prefer. You can put your logo here and things like that. Okay, so now, what can I do about the bleed? I can open the page as A3 because the size now is A3. I mean, when an A4 is opened, it becomes A3. A closed A4 stays A4, but when you open two pages side by side, it becomes A3. And the A3 size, as we know, is 42. I'm going to set it to landscape orientation, so it's 29.7 by 42, alright? Then I click OK here. After clicking OK, I select all of this as a group, then I go back and comment, and I group all of this together. And I do it like this. Now I want to add the registers, which are the register or crop marks for the cutting process during printing, or for assembling the cover or the book jacket. So let me just go ahead and write this book online, and I will do it right here. Hold on. Okay, just because I'm selecting, that's fine. We work here. I have it set to none here again, so it looks like this. Now I select it again, so we can add crop marks. Now I select the book's edges so I can go and add the registers, which is create trim marks here, and it will show up like this, which are the print boundaries. I select each register separately like this. I press enter. I set it to -21, so it's just to the left. Of course, I selected it using the white arrow here, which is this, the direct selection tool. It's really great for working. So when I press copy, I'll find that the register moved to the center of the book. Alright, now let's talk about a very important step. You can do this either at the beginning or at the end, which is the topic of the bleed for cutting. So here in Illustrator, on Mac devices, I press Command plus Option plus P for bleed, or on Windows devices, it's Control plus Option plus P for bleed. Alright, here they gave me the plate. In this case, you set the bleed to 3 millimeters, or whatever the print shop requires. But usually, for these books or for the first type, that's the standard bleed. I mean, it's minimal. It's not as necessary as with hardcovers or when assembling the book. Alright, I'm going to click now. Okay, here I have it. Okay, on the subject of the palette. You'll notice that now there's a red line at the top here, and that's so I can add the bleed to it. So I grabbed it from here. There are certain ways you can do this, but let me go ahead and group it. All set here. Great. Okay, now I have the cover ready. And you can double check your work. You can add guidelines or rulers so you can see the details. Here, the middle will be the fold. Of course, in the center here, that's where the book will be folded. Here on this side. And here as well. And here at the bottom as well. Alright, as we mentioned, the page is on the left because the book opens in Arabic. So here, this is where the book title will go. You can put the book title or the logo or, well, definitely the book title here. You can name it whatever you want, like the book's name. So let's say, for example, History of Palestine. So that was the explanation of the first type of book or magazine cover design method that we talked about. The first type is the one that depends on a small number of pages. So you could say it's just from 16 pages up to, let's say, a maximum of 64 pages.